Another week, another classic movie in the books. Now, this week I've gone with something a bit more recent. And usually when you hear the word classic and movie, you think back to, the 1950s, 60s, 70s, the black and white sort of golden era of cinema. But yeah, this week is a lot more recent. 1996, bit younger than me. It's only 10 years younger than me, but it feels very, very weird saying that. 1996, such a long time ago. And yeah, this is a classic. It is, Danny Boyle's Trainspotting. Now, I've gone for a long time without seeing this movie, but it's always been one of those movies that I feel like I should have seen, because the same with all of these classics, I feel like I should have seen it. But yeah, this one just always sort of stayed out of my kind of radar. But yeah, I finally caught up. I finally watched Trainspotting, and whew, it's a weird one. Yeah, like I say, it's weird. It's very tough to kind of watch this movie and let it all kind of sink in and really try and work out what kind of message you want to get from this movie. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Was it entertaining? Yes. Was it funny? Yes. Was it, were there emotional beats? Yes. Were there the sort of things that you'd expect from this movie, knowing what it is going in? Yes. Were there some harrowing aspects? Yes. One of which I'm just going to get out of the way straight away. The group have their own kind of crack den. I'm assuming an abandoned house somewhere in Scotland where they go and they, shoot up, where they do heroin, which this whole movie is based around, by the way. If you don't know anything about this movie, I suggest you go and look it up and definitely watch it. But be prepared, because this bit that I'm going to explain, the kind of thing that really made this whole movie as enjoyable as the whole movie was, this bit kind of really hit me and really sunk in. And it was actually, I said it was harrowing. It is very, very harrowing. But yeah, their house that they, go to do what they do. Obviously, a lady lives there with her very young baby. I'm guessing this baby is 6 to 8 months old, because the baby rolls over, but it doesn't walk or crawl. So it must be very, very young. All the while they're doing what they do, you see glimpses of this baby. It just kind of rolls into shot, gives you a little smile. Sometimes it's sitting up against the mum while she is laying there. Every time you sort of see the baby, you know that something bad is going to happen, especially in this kind of situation with everything that is going on. But yeah, there is a very harrowing scene where at one point the lady is screaming, and as soon as she starts screaming, you know what is going to happen. Everyone sort of runs into a room to find out what it is that she's screaming about. And yeah, the baby is dead. And the camera kind of lingers on it for quite a long time, and harrowing is not a strong enough word for this. It is very upsetting. I get why it's in the movie. It is to explain what happens in this culture, in this what happens to people when they are addicted to such a strong drug such as heroin. Not just heroin, but any kind of addiction can sort of take its toll on people, and unfortunately it takes its toll on parents. It is a sickness. I'm not going to get into the whole debate on whether it's the mother's fault. It is the mother's fault, but again, it's an addiction. I'm not going to get into this whole thing, but the whole scene where you see the baby is very, very distressing. As a dad, myself, seeing something like that, it really did hit me, and it actually choked me up quite a bit and took me out of the movie for a brief moment. I actually had to pause it and walk away for a moment. But yeah, it is very just there's basically a warning before you go in and watch this movie. If you've already seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have not seen it and you plan on watching it, just be prepared for that. So yeah, there was a little cut there. I just had to kind of compose myself. But yeah, eventually that baby does creep back in at some point as well. The main character, Renton, played by Ewan McGregor, a very young Ewan McGregor, looks really good. I mean, he obviously looks horrible because he has to look horrible. He's constantly pale and skinny. But yeah, one of his many attempts to get clean, his parents lock him in a room, and he has visions. He has kind of trip out moments, and one of which said baby crawls across the ceiling towards him while he's screaming and in terror, as you know very understandably would. But yeah, that is creepy as it is, very, very creepy, and it is, again, it kind of goes along this whole storyline of what addicts have to go through, and why this film becomes such a cult classic. I mean, it's not because of the drugs aspect. I believe it's because of the whole era it was set in. I think the timing that they took to turn this, it was based on a book, to make this book into this movie. I think they picked the exact right moment, because the whole Britpop era was up and running. That sort of drugs culture, not just the very bad drugs such as heroin, but ecstasy and cocaine. They were at the forefront of the media. So this kind of film really, it spoke to a lot of people. It spoke to me in a big way. I'm not a drug user. I don't do drugs. But I think the kind of culture around it, the young person with no responsibilities, just wanting to go out and have fun. I remember being like that when, 10 plus years ago, when I was young enough to actually go out of a night time and go out clubbing and, be up till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and not really kind of regretting it in the slightest. I do remember those days, so I can kind of appreciate the way that they didn't have cares in the world, and they, that especially the main character Renton, he just wanted to have fun. He didn't want. He does a whole speech at the beginning of the movie about how he doesn't want, the life of being old and being married and having a mortgage and having a, a 3-piece suite, a TV, blah 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 blah. He didn't want that, but by the end of the movie, after many times of trying to become clean, he decides that he does want that. That's the kind of life that he wants to live. He wants to get clean. He wants to grow up. He wants to be mature. And you can actually see that thought process with him throughout the movie. All of the mistakes, all the choices that he makes, you can see he's working towards something. He wants to kind of grow up. He wants to be a much better person, like we all do. Eventually, we get into late years of our lives, and we kind of grow up. We get married, we have kids, we get a house, and that's just how life works. Not for everyone. It's not to everyone's taste. So I get that, but to a lot of people, it is. You kind of have to put your past behind you. You have to put your demons behind you, and you have to work through that, and not forget about those demons. Those things are there. They made you the person that you are today, and that's what you kind of see with Renton throughout this movie. I'm very intrigued to see the sequel. I want to see what happens there, because, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, after the big skag deal, he basically steals the money from his friends. Well, 2 quite good friends and 1 mad guy called Begsby, who played brilliantly by Robert Carlyle. That man, in my eyes, can do no wrong. He is the quintessential psychopathic Scottish kind of head case that just, wants to drink and fight all the time. All the way through, he complains that he doesn't like drugs, but he ends up doing a skag deal at the end of it. It's very ironic and it's very funny. But yeah, Ewan McGregor's character Renton, he steals the money and he runs away to start a better life. And it's quite heartwarming that going through that sort of process. And yeah, like I say, I really want to see the sequel. I want to see what happens. I want to see where he's got in his life, because it's set 20 plus years later. So, you know, has he got his life together? Has he got a family? Has he got all the things that he believed that, you know, when you grow up, you're supposed to attain, you're supposed to get to that point in life? Or did he go another way? You know, I'm very intrigued to see what happens. Yeah, this movie's very up and down. It's very good. Like I say, it's very enjoyable. I did really enjoy it. There's a lot of harrowing moments, but I think that harrowing moment has to be in there. You know, it has to be placed where it is to show you because it's not glorifying the drug use at all. It's kind of saying because one character, Tommy, he is, he's kind of a health freak. You know, he likes a drink and he likes a cigarette, but you know, he doesn't touch drugs. He doesn't do any of the bad stuff that the rest of his friends do. But he loses his girlfriend after a mix-up with a sex tape. Brilliant. And, you know, he says to his friend Renton, let me try it. You always said it's better than sex. I want to give this a go. You know, I'm an adult. I want to see what it's like. He does it, and very quickly he goes down that slope and he ends up dying. So, yeah, it's not glorifying this drug culture at all. It's actually kind of a good message, you know, showing you the pitfalls of being an addict. And again, being an addict is a sickness. I believe that. You know, I've not got big addictions. You know, I've got very small addictions. You know, silly things like energy drinks and cigarettes. But yeah, I can understand the life of an addict and, you know, what it's like and the pitfalls that you have to go through. You know, especially if you want to kind of go through the other end and you want to be, you know, rid of all of that. It's not easy, and it's tough. But yeah, this movie really kind of hits home with that message, and it kind of does it in an enjoyable way. I mean, that scene where he falls into the toilet to get his suppositories, I've seen that scene. I've seen that scene before. I've seen it many times. I've seen a lot of scenes from this movie, but I've never seen the whole thing complete. But that scene where he, in that bathroom is absolutely disgusting, and the fact that he's in a place where he needs those suppositories back, so he has to climb into this toilet. And I know he doesn't climb into the toilet, but you know, he reaches into this toilet, he's being sick, you can see feces on his hand while he's doing it. It's absolutely disgusting but incredible at the same time. He falls in and he swims around. It looks quite nice when he's in there swimming around, but I think the metaphor there is, you know, once it's gone, it's gone. So, you know, don't stick your hand in a poo-filled toilet. But yeah, the film is incredible. It is funny. It's very heartwarming, and it does send a good message. I think in the end, yeah, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. But yeah, it was fun. I did enjoy it. Yeah, but yeah, very up and down, that movie. Very up and down, this review as well. But yeah, I recommend it. I'll say give it a go, and I'm going to go and watch the sequel as soon as I get time. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a like and maybe subscribe to my channel. I always say maybe, just subscribe, hit that like button, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. You know, you'll get many more weird videos like this. Yeah, hit me down in the comments as well and let me know what you think about Trainspotting. And I'd also like to know why it's called Trainspotting. My wife recommended this movie as a joke. I said to her, what classic movie should I watch this week? And she said Trainspotting. So that'll do. That sounds like fun. She said, what's it about? I said, it's about heroin. She went, I thought it was about train spotting. No, it's not. I think they're on a train once in the whole movie. I'm not even sure. But yeah, if you know why it's called Trainspotting, hit me up in the comments and let me know. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll speak to you again next week. Goodbye.